What's up, guys? Kevin Cage back with another XRP update. Let's get into some rapid fire news, and I hope you enjoy this one. We're going to start things off on Polysign.io. I want to point out a few things. So, building the future of digital assets, Polysign develops state-of-the-art, secure, scalable infrastructure for financial institutions to fully leverage their digital assets. We do know that Ripple essentially is largely behind this organization. Although there are tons of NDAs, they are active. We even have seen clips, of course, them discussing with the International Monetary Fund even years ago. Of course, Mickey B. Fresh has found a bunch of information and has been pointing towards Polysign forever now. And if you don't believe that Ripple and even XRP are behind this, I don't really know what to tell you. Notice, Silicon Valley meets Wall Street. We can see David Schwartz, CTO, is a board member and advisor, and even Arthur Brito, the man, the myth, the legend, and the ghost, was the co-founder of Ripple Labs as well as the XRP ledger. So keep that in mind. These are just a few things I consider. We can see Tim Keeney as well, a big shot, and also a retired vice chairman of BNY Mellon, a huge RippleNet partner. Of course, you guys remember the story of, I believe, Matthew Mellon. And then Antoinette, the CCO, was also in discussion, of course, with the IMF. She was one, I believe it was like an IMF panel or just discussion about security, leveraging digital assets in capital markets. Keep your eyes on the prize. There is a big money paying attention to this entire space. Now, of course, some of this, institutional money may not flow into it overnight, but we need security, we need scalability, we need regulatory clarity, we need a lot of things in place, even insurance that is growing as well. Jack McDonald, of course, inducted into the Global Custodians Legends of the industry. I really like this team here. We can see that Antoinette was also at PFG, Promontory Financial Group, of course. Even Digital Asset Investor does point out that they are known as the shadow regulator. And 15 years in traditional banking with MUFG and HSBC, both RippleNet partners in one of the largest banks in the world. HSBC, Citi, along with JP Morgan, are the three that essentially hold this monopoly over the cross-border payments market. $155 trillion is sent globally. So if we can even just get a fraction of that, maybe they already have. Notice Tim Keeney right here, custodying 25%, 1/4 of global institutional assets. These are just some of the things I keep in mind. Of course, there sure are a lot of coincidences, and I'm going to keep paying attention to all of this. So our mission at Polysign is to drive global use of digital assets, not just XRP, but any asset that solves that problem, by building best-in-class infrastructure that enables institutions to secure and transact. This is going to be an internet of value. Web 3, guys, peer-to-peer entirely, in a trustless manner, utilizing smart contracts and digital assets across capital markets and payments sectors. Beyond excited. And of course, we had Anders Allen. I just want to point this out. You think BNY Mellon will use Polysign when they start offering crypto custody services? Well, I think it's a safe assumption that that is part of the plan all along. I mean, what do you think? A retired vice chairman that was responsible for custodying 1/4 of the world's global institutional assets may have a say-so? Yeah, I'd assume so. Jack McDonald, even Antoinette and her connections, David Schwartz, Arthur Brito. Yeah, I think it is a safe assumption to, hope for the best in this, all right? Now, Mickey B. Fresh, of course, has tons of information, great threads on all of this, and he's been really going at it for several years at this point, at least a couple years, talking about Polysign, talking about private blockchains as well, even the XRPL. Everybody dismisses it. They all say it's conspiratorial, and I'm just trying to entertain every possibility. And notice, we did have Ripple, in fact, announce that they're going to have a private XRP ledger. Relax, guys, it is still the same XRP. All in all, it's still going to be the same XRP. It will have the same value in the future. Try not to, go around with FUD and say, oh no, it's a scam. This is trying to solve a problem at an institutional level, and it's just going to require waiting, in my opinion. This is not financial advice. I'm sick of waiting for the past several years, even though that, most of us that have been in this market are up dramatically. But all in all, I am excited. So, who has been building a private blockchain with the highest level security and compliance? Polysign. This is capital markets, guys. This is the big money. If you didn't even just see a few of those people that are, on the board or, CCOs, etc. Notice, there's going to be identity. Global ID reminds me of Greg Kidd. Key wallets, authentication, privacy. Private ledgers are not just for central banks, but their account holders equals banks and custodians. So I love this. I know I tease, and a lot of people call Mickey a mad scientist in the space just because of his highlighting and circling. I love his research. I find him to be incredibly logical. And of course, he's been covering Flare networks extensively, and I'm trying to learn as much as possible because I really want to develop a passive income via that route as well. And keep in mind, with staking assets, guys, whether you like Algo and ADA, I stake both of those, and it's not anything crazy, 5%, 4%, 6%. But what you have to understand is you're getting 5% rough estimate. With those, you can do, Polkadot, or you can even do like Ramp DeFi for a little more aggressive way to get even more percentage, or you could do, liquidity mining. But when you're getting 5% of, say, we're just going to say Algo, and it's $1, you're still getting 5% of the tokens. If Algo goes to $10 or $20 in the future, you essentially just got, 5x or 10x or whatever the multiplier effect would be of your income. So if you're making $100 or $1,000 a month, but then the asset actually goes up 10x in value, you're then making $1,000 or $10,000 per month passively by staking over the network, whether you use Exodus wallet. With Algorand, you can even use Ledger Live, the application. Some people hold their assets on Coinbase, but you're, paying a little fee. This space is just super exciting. I encourage you guys to keep learning because I'm right there with you. And I'm really just looking to ideally have passive income, paying it up well. I can just kind of, reinvest, rebalance my portfolio, take advantage of the market. And ideally, being selfish, I would love for XRP to moon right now. So I'll hold a portion of XRP for life, as I've shared, maybe 20%, maybe 50% of my holdings if I can afford to do so. And then take the rest of that money and rediversify into digital assets to stake, maybe even lend my crypto. I don't know if I want to do it via centralized platforms like BlockFi, but still get a good interest rate, Nexo, Celsius Network. They're just things that I'm bouncing ideas with. And then, of course, learn more about Flare Networks thanks to, Mickey B. Fresh, Crypto Addy, Deep Space, Flare community, everybody that's involved. I don't like naming certain people because I don't want to exclude anybody. If you are adding value out there, I appreciate you very much. All right. So just kind of highlighting a bunch of things. And I encourage you guys to go through these threads. I don't want to, bore you with the details and read all this verbatim, but Mickey always does have a lot of good information. And hey, some people will roll their eyes and say it's all dot connecting. And then, Ripple drops the news that, wow, this in fact was correct all along, with private ledgers giving central banks the ability to leverage and use XRP on the XRP ledger, but with privacy features. It makes absolute sense now. Hindsight's always 20/20. It's like we're driving in a car and you're looking in the rear view mirror and you're able to make sense of it now, but dot connecting in the future is a lot more difficult. And that's something that Steve Jobs has always said as well. All right, right here, guys. So I was just sharing this. The block crypto, the IRS clarifies that buying and holding crypto does not require reporting. It's not a taxable event. All good and great. However, when you are not transferring, but say converting or trading, buying and selling, that is a taxable event, guys. So I encourage all of you to pay close attention to that. Keep in mind, I went over this in my last video. If you want to go watch this, just literally uploaded on March 5th, and the last few minutes of the video, I go over this. So I encourage you to go through this. This is TaxBit. I only talk about services that I actively use. Everything in every video description, guys, is something I have experience using and I use today or even on a daily basis. So that's just something I recommend to look at, because I know there's other options. I'm not going to name any or bash any, but overall, TaxBit's been my absolute best friend. The support there, I can just send them a CSV file. If they don't actually directly integrate with it, they upload it for me. I love the hands-off approach, so I can continue stacking crypto. I'm an active trader, growing my trading bag, adding those profits into my long-term holdings, and just keep going and preparing for the future. So super excited for that. Encourage you guys to look at this, and I discuss this in this video as well. Right here, Jamil Kays, I gave you a follow. Thanks for always providing such great content here. So we have Brad Garlinghouse, of course. This is an older clip, but I just want to remind you and play a few things really quick.
That value. XRP is part of the heartbeat of Ripple. It is the foundation of how we think about liquidity management, and a core problem that how the financial infrastructure works is around how liquidity is managed. Today, financial institutions are wired with pools of capital.
I just want to make sure I don't get a copyright for this as well with the music in the background.
They're called Nostro and Vostro accounts. And these are accounts that are pre-funded between financial institutions. And that's capital sitting dormant.
Remember, that's approximately $10 trillion just doing nothing. There's no working capital. It's no capital efficiency, getting hit with inflation. What do you think is going to happen when, Flare Networks, XRP, other DeFi assets unlock this trapped capital?
And not being used for either working capital, lending, or what have you.
And now Ripple has a head of DeFi. They're working on lending with line of credit. Very exciting. I just cannot wait for this SEC nonsense to be over. Maybe we do take off sooner. But overall, I'm going to do what Zig Ziglar says, prepare for the worst and capitalize on what is to come. So whether you have exposure to this market or not, that is completely up to you. My best way so I can sleep at night is I'm still heavily into crypto, because how could I not be based off of all of this news? We even have, Deutsche Bank announcing that they're getting into crypto custody. We've had news about other groups like HSBC. Deutsche Bank is one of those, it's not your mom and pop shop. It's a bank classified as too big to fail. So I have to pay attention to these things. Of course, there's going to be manipulation and motives and news, but all in all, I cannot ignore the utility that crypto is providing. All right. So just wanted to share that. And then Michael Val5 Links sharing this, so I just wanted to thank you, sir. Deutsche Bank, Germany's largest lender, has unveiled plans to offer a crypto custody service. The storage and security service will be open only to institutional clients. Interesting. Reminds me of Polysign. Obviously, we need security, and we also need scalable infrastructure to transact money between one another. So there's so many moving parts, guys. Just wanted to point that out. All right. And a few other things before we finish up. So Hex Trust, I'm sure some of you have heard of the token Hex as well, launches a custody service for Ethereum NFTs, non-fungible tokens. Of course, we had the big DeFi bubble essentially last year, maybe around August 2020. A lot of people made money. A lot of people kind of missed out. I personally missed out on a lot of good assets. Really just kind of my own ignorance, but I'm always learning. And then we can see Hex Trust has created a new vault for storing these non-fungible tokens. So it's the same way you access any other asset on the blockchain. So this vault will integrate with the NFT marketplace. Very, very cool. All right. And then right here, while NFTs are different from other blockchain tokens, they are accessed in the same way. So someone with an Ethereum address can store fungible tokens like BAT, like Aave, like Link, along with any of their NFTs in the same wallet. That means if they lose the private keys, those string of numbers, letters, the crazy code, the serial number, that are effectively access codes to, get into your wallet, they will lose the NFTs along with any other token in their wallet. This is why some users are turning to custody solutions to prevent themselves from losing their own tokens. So I believe, BlockFi, they leverage BitGo. BitGo is a very, very secure custodian in the crypto space. Of course, we know that PayPal's in talks and wanting to purchase them. We know that BitGo years ago, what did they do? For Ripple, they built the enterprise wallet or enterprise capabilities for XRP, the digital asset. Very cool. So I pay attention to these things. And an analogy I was going to say as I was stuttering when I was reading this paragraph, because I'm all over the place, I was essentially thinking of when they're on the blockchain, just think of it as a highway, okay? So there's a highway full of cars. The cars are your tokens that exist on the blockchain. If you have your private keys, think of those as the key to get into the car, and now you can move that car. You can move it along the highway, the blockchain. So it never leaves the highway. But if someone has your private keys, they can access and move your car, aka your funds, in this manner. So I just want to use a super basic analogy. I've heard many people say this before, so hopefully that helps anybody. So if they have your private keys, not the public address, but the private keys, they're able to get into your car, meaning access your funds, not just see them, but access them and move them to another wallet, another spot on the highway, another spot on the blockchain. So that's kind of a good analogy I would like to use for anybody that's brand new, and hopefully that was helpful. Notice, DeFi index funds is Bitwise's fastest grower with $32.5 million in 2 weeks. And notice, I'm going to highlight this. You guys will catch my drift. The asset manager's chief investment officer says institutional interest in DeFi tokens is ramping up. You guys know that I do like ramp DeFi as well, essentially focusing on unlocking trapped liquidity in staked assets. On the Ethereum blockchain, partnerships with Tezos, IOST, Graph, a lot of assets. So I'm paying attention to this entire space. I own a lot of assets, but man, I just want XRP to pump. It's still one of my largest holdings, but if it trends sideways, my other little alts might even pass it. All in all, I'm pretty aggressive, as you guys know, and I am not afraid to take those profits and just keep accumulating XRP. And last but not least, guys, remember Jesse Powell, the CEO of Kraken? We already showed in a previous video that he did in fact invest in the company Ripple back in the day. Now he says he'd only want to go public at a valuation above $10 billion. His quote, "We are certainly on track, though $10 billion is a low valuation," said Powell. "I wouldn't be interested in issuing shares at that price." He knows his value. He knows what this digital asset marketplace is going to do. And props to him for that. I just wish that Kraken was still trading XRP for US customers. But keep in mind, Coinbase was valued at $8 billion, and now they private valuation of $100 billion. Ripple was valued at $10 billion back in the day. This is a couple years ago at this point. What do you think they're going to be valued at in the future, especially when XRP gets clarity and begins to move again? Just things that I consider. And then last but not least, just for fun, We do remember Ripple back in April 2019 when they announced that they're a founding member of INAPA with, IOTA and a few other blockchain networks to being a leading participant. Remember this 20 to 2? I was just thinking of it, and I just would love 20 to 2 to mean 20 cents to $2 already. Another day waiting, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed. Be sure to tune into the next video, and I will catch you in the next one.